Welcome, Caldwell School District. We are joined today by Dr. Melyssa Ferro, who's going to walk us through how parents and students can access instructional materials when they are offline during this time of remote learning. Dr. Ferro, thank you for joining today. And can you tell folks who you are?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity to connect with you today. So my name's Dr. Melyssa Ferro, and I've actually worked in the Caldwell School District for the last 21 years. I actually grew up in Caldwell, and I went to the Caldwell School District, so it's a fantastic opportunity for me to wear the hat of a teacher in the district. This year, instead of just teaching science full-time like I have for the last 20 years, I'm sort of splitting my time between my science classroom and helping the district as a digital integration and innovation specialist. Basically, I'm working sort of as an instructional coach for teachers this year and helping them think about how they can use technology in our digital learning. I know that all of your students are being asked to do their instruction this year through Google Classroom, and you might be getting used to hearing a whole bunch of googly words floating around your house as you hear things like Google Docs and Google Slides and Google Classroom. And so you might be wondering, if my student doesn't have access to technology at our house, how can they stay connected to their Google Classrooms and their teachers while we're in a fully distanced learning red plan, as well as how will they have access to their distance learning when we move to yellow, hopefully later this fall. So I just wanted to share some slide deck screens with you that would walk you through that process. I actually do have this slide deck live on the Caldwell School District website right now. If you want access to it, it's under the button labeled Teacher Tech Toolkit under Tech Tips from Dr. Ferro. I'd put it there for the teachers to see earlier this week, but parents, you're welcome to check that out too. There's no secrets on my screen. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and walk you through some of the different things that you might want to know as you help your student access Google Drive files. So the first thing you need to know is that to start off the process, you will need to have internet connection. That could mean that you drive to your nearest school in the Caldwell School District, whether it be an elementary, a middle school, or one of our high schools, and sit in the parking lot to access the district Wi-Fi. You can also use Wi-Fi at local restaurants, Starbucks, McDonald's. A lot of those places also have some internet connection. You will have to start off with some sort of internet connection. So the first step is, while you're connected to the internet, you will need to install an extension to Chrome called the offline Chrome extension. This slide deck has the web address for that Chrome extension on it. However, it's super easy to find if you just open up a Google window, a search window, and you Google offline or offline Chrome extension. It should be the very first thing that pops up on your screen. And it's going to take you to something called the Chrome Web Store. In the Chrome Web Store, you're going to see a button in the upper right-hand corner that says Add to Chrome. The beautiful thing about all of these Chrome extensions is that they install pretty much on their own. There's not a lot of tech knowledge that you have to have in order to get these extensions connected to your browser. So you're going to click Add to Chrome, and then it's going to say Installing, and then that blue button will change to something that I think it says something like uninstall. So if at some point in the future you decide you no longer want that on your Chrome browser, you can come back and you can uninstall it. Step 2 is you need to go into your Google Drive, and your students should be able to find that Google Drive icon in their Google Waffle. And then once you're in Google Drive, you're going to find this little gear icon in the upper right-hand corner. That gear icon always stands for settings. Once you're in the Google settings, you're going to have a box that has a bunch of different options like storage and language options. It should have an option now that you've installed the extension, that says offline. You want to make sure that you put a check mark in that box that says offline. What that does is it tells your computer that you want the opportunity to be able to create, to be able to open, and to be able to edit all of these different googly things that your student is talking about, docs, sheets, slides, while they're not connected to the internet. At this point, you shouldn't need the internet anymore. At this point, you can go back to your house, you can go back to your desk wherever your student is working at, and they should be able to do all of the things that they need to with those documents. There should be a little icon that shows up next to the name of each of the documents that your student is working in that looks like a cloud with a little check mark in it. That cloud with the check mark shows that that document is ready for you to use offline. It shows that you can edit that document without an internet connection. So your student can at this point complete all of the different assignments that they might have received from a teacher. They might have a Google slide deck that they have to add some pictures to. They might have a Google document that they need to type an essay or some answers to some questions in. They might have a Google sheet that they have to add some data to, or they might have to do some calculations in. When they've completed all of their work, the final step in order to submit the work to the teacher does require the internet connection again. So once they've done all of their assignments at home, you're going to need to go back to some place where there is an internet connection. That could be, again, the parking lot of one of our schools anywhere in the district. And at that point, the changes are going to automatically be able to save to drive once the student reconnects to the internet. You'll notice on the next slide here, you can make specific files available online by clicking on that file and choosing the available offline option and moving the slider. Once they reconnect to the internet, whether it be at their school or at some other place where you have access to wireless internet, then Chrome will save those documents back to their Google Drive, and they'll be able to submit them to their teachers through Google Classroom. So hopefully this was a helpful tutorial on how to use the extension called Google Offline in order to let your student work on some of their different Google assignments for their teacher during this time of distance learning. Thanks for the opportunity to share this with our parents and our students today.
Great. Dr. Ferro, thank you. A couple of questions I had when I was listening to you. I wanted to check my understanding. The student will have their device. They would need to be on an internet site, perhaps outside their school, to go and access their assignments. But if they've gone in and got that extension, they can work on those away from the internet. And then when they return to an internet setting, it would sync or upload. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Perfect. So you'll need to start connected to the internet and you'll need to finish connected to the internet. But the time when the student would really be doing their work, the time when the student would really be engaging with their lessons, you could do from home, you could do from a place where there was no internet connection.
Yeah. Now, if they have an assignment that has lots of photos or just lots of memory items, will it take longer for it to upload? Would they expect it to be, a little longer than a minute or so, or it doesn't matter?
For the most part, the Google connections are pretty smooth. I think that we're not going to see super long wait times on anything. The district's Wi-Fi has pretty broad capabilities. We have pretty good bandwidth, especially after all the tweaks that were made to the filtering yesterday. So I think that the student would probably only need to be connected to the internet for short periods of time at the beginning and for short periods of time at the end of their work session.
Great. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. And thanks for all you're doing for our teachers and for this tutorial for parents and kids.
Well, no problem. I'm happy to be working with the Caldwell School District this year as we take this digital learning journey adventure together.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.